You have a show because you're fresh, you're funny, you're great. And I want you to know something. From my heart, I never liked you.
Don Rickles wasn't just a comedian. He was a stage assassin, the master of the roast who made Hollywood laugh and tremble at the same time. His barbs could cut through anyone, actors, singers, even politicians. People called him Mr. Warmth. But that was irony on stage. He was sharp, cold, and fearless. And yet, behind the laughter, Rickles carried something deeper. He admitted late in life that some of his insults weren't jokes at all. They were rooted in genuine contempt. For decades, he kept a secret blacklist of people in show business he truly couldn't stand. At the top of that list was Clint Eastwood. To the world, Eastwood was the rugged, stone-faced cowboy who defined cool. But to Rickles, he was a hollow image, a man who made a career out of squinting instead of acting. Rickles would joke on stage that Eastwood had only two expressions: scowling and scowling harder. The audience roared, but Rickles wasn't laughing. He believed Eastwood was living proof of how Hollywood rewarded image over real talent. Then there was Dean Martin, the smooth crooner of the Rat Pack. Martin seemed effortless, always with a drink in his hand, always charming, but Rickles saw him as lazy, a man who coasted on looks and charisma while others worked themselves to the bone. Dean doesn't sing, Rickles would sneer. He yawns with a melody. Beneath the laughs, Rickles meant every word. To him, Martin represented the fakery of an industry built on style instead of substance. Ronald Reagan was another name Rickles never forgave. Before politics, Reagan was a second-rate actor, and Rickles never let him forget it. Even Lassie had better roles than you, he would joke. When Reagan became president, Rickles mocked the entire country for letting a failed actor run the White House. The crowd laughed. Reagan often chuckled along, but Rickles meant it. He believed Reagan's entire career was a performance. Even Frank Sinatra, one of Rickles' closest friends, wasn't safe. Sinatra gave Rickles opportunities that boosted his career, yet Rickles openly teased him about his mafia ties. Without the mob, Frank, you'd be a lounge act in Jersey, he quipped in front of packed audiences. People gasped. No one mocked Sinatra except Don Rickles. Their friendship was real, but Rickles still despised the way power and connections elevated Sinatra beyond his talent. Rickles' blacklist went on. He accused Bob Hope of being the Disneyland of comedy, polished, family-friendly, but empty. He mocked Johnny Carson for being stiff and scripted, even though Carson's show gave him his biggest stage. He tore into Joan Rivers for copying his style without the grace to pull it off. And he saved some of his sharpest disdain for Jerry Lewis, the slapstick clown adored in France. Rickles sneered that Lewis exhausted adults and only entertained children. If France thinks Jerry Lewis is a genius, Rickles once said, they probably think snails are pizza. So why didn't Rickles speak openly about this hatred earlier? The answer was survival. Hollywood in the 1960s and Vegas in the Rat Pack era were dangerous places to make enemies. Rickles disguised his contempt as comedy. On stage, his roasts looked like jokes. Off stage, they were shields. He could mock Sinatra or Reagan to their faces without ending his career because everyone thought it was just a gag. But as he grew older, with nothing left to lose, he began to reveal which of those insults came from a place of truth. The irony was that Don Rickles, the man who seemed so cruel on stage, was known as gentle and kind off it. Friends described him as loyal, warm, and loving. He had a long marriage, raised a family, and even voiced Mr. Potato Head in Toy Story, endearing himself to children who never knew his razor-sharp alter ego. When Don Rickles passed away in 2017 at the age of 90, he left behind more than a legacy of laughter. He left a warning about Hollywood itself. His blacklist wasn't just a record of people he hated, it was his confession about an industry that rewarded image, power, and illusion more than honesty and craft. His roasts live on, not just as jokes, but as reminders that behind the glitz of Hollywood lies a harsher truth. Rickles spent his life exposing it, one insult at a time.